Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So, guys, this is the most important tool which we have, and I don't know how many of you have worked with this tool prior to this training. But again, if you have not worked with it, you have to take this very much seriously. And those who have worked with it, you have an opportunity to ask if any questions if you have in Docker. Okay. So now, first question is, what is Docker? What is Docker? So whenever we say Docker, then we all say, oh yeah, we can create a container out of it. Container management tool. Now, okay, so fine, we understand, okay, it's a container management tool. If you remember, what is a VMware? So we used to call VM management tool. Simple. So now we have a container. We have a Docker, which is a container management tool. Now, a question is, what is the definition of tool? So if you look at the definition of tool, we are using different tools from throughout the history of human civilization. So different tool has come and has gone also. Now, earlier we used to change the tools in every 500 years, 300 years, 400 years, then it become 30 years, then become a 5 years, then become a 3 years, and now every year we are changing the tool actually. So why we are changing tools so much? What was the reason? What tools gives us the capability, and so we change that every now and then. And tools give us any tools actually, for the sake of discussion, any tools which will help you to do the certain things. For example, it will help you to saving cost. Yeah, saving cost means it can do much faster, much better, and in terms of quantity, in terms of quality, it can do much better than earlier tools. So it can save cost and saving time also. Okay, it can save your time also, and then same time improve quality. That is a three things which we have. So whenever we go for the some other tools, like say, okay, today we are using and tomorrow we will use Maven, or day after tomorrow you will say we'll use Gradle. Why? Earlier we were using C programming, then C++, then Java, and then now we have a Python, and nowadays YAML, JSON. So why we use different evolutions? Why we always change those tools or techniques or process or languages or whatever it is? Because of these reasons only: saving cost, saving time, save improve quality. But the question is, okay, fine, Docker is a tool. Docker is a management tool. Docker is a container management tool. So using this tool, how can you save cost? How can you save time? How can you improve the quality? So guys, you have to understand, tools saving a cost for what? Saving a time for what? Improving a quality of what? So here, saving a cost, okay, for running applications. If nowadays we call it apps, right? Earlier we used to call it software. Same thing, whatever you want to say. Saving a cost for running applications and software in data center. Primarily, we can do stuff in the development environment also. SDLC cycle also, you can use it. SDLC cycle means dev queue operations, and then data centers operations only. Now saving a time for what? For deployment of application and software and rollback also. And improving the quality. How? So software quality and stuff like that. So now this tool will give you so much of flexibility. Understand that Docker as a tool can save you cost for in what area when you want to run application in a data center or during the SDLC cycle, or it will help you to save time in terms of deployment and rollback also, and improving the quality in terms of software quality. So we got to know, okay, fine, these are the capabilities what Docker has. But again, what is a management? This keyword we understand very well. We Indians are very good in terms of management jargons and also I'm not going to tell you what is a management definition of management. But the question is, we all are not able to understand what is container, correct? What is container? So Docker can manage a container and using that you can get so much of benefit. But what is a container? So that is a major questions which we have now. And this we are going to understand what is container, because the moment you understand what is a container, then we'll understand Docker, and then we can install Docker and start using Docker having a container in it, and then everything is done. The crash course, the objective of this crash course is done. Having the containers, understanding the containers, running the containers, using the container. That's all. Three things. What is container? How to create a container? How to use the container. These are the three topics which I'm going to cover now. Correct? So what is container? So guys, with this in pretext, forget about the Docker and forget about the container. Forget about everything. Just think about something different topics now, and the topics which we have studied in our first and second semester of our colleges also, and every day we practice while working as a software engineer, right? A question is, very simple question is, what are the components we need to run one app? Any app also you can say, or if you want to tell, other words, what are the resources we need to run one app or any app? I said any app or software. Okay, software. How many software I'm running in my desktop in this laptop? Do you know? Let me check it out. See here. I don't have any numbers. I wish I can calculate. So many applications I'm running. See here. MF, EMMS, SVC host.exe, QCSHM.exe. These all are applications running in my laptop. These all are applications. A question is very simple. What are the resources we need to run one app, Aka software? So this we have to understand. Any idea? Any idea what we need? What are the resources we need? Any idea?
Operating system.
Okay, so I'll start with little bit back. First thing, we need a hardware, correct now?
Yes.
When I say hardware, then we need a CPU, RAM, storage. Very simple, not complicated. These are the three important components we have. We need it. We all know, nothing new. And then on top of that, we get operating system. Okay, wonderful operating system. But in operating system, to run one app, let's say McAfee AVSC absvc.exe, to run this executable, this is one application, right? So run what we need in operating system. What we
Port
need?
number.
Port number, we need it when you want to access that application from outside. That's correct. So you need a port number. Okay, what else? Port number, can I call it? This is a network or something. Will that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need, this is the and this is the last thing you need it. You want to access that application, this application over the network, over the IP address. Then you need this one. That's true. Anything else?
Memory.
You need a memory, correct? So this application need CPU allocation and RAM allocation. But okay, that's a one thing. What else?
Virtual machine.
Virtual machine. Why do we need a virtual machines? Here we have operating system already. Virtual machines get you the operating system, correct? No, you can run
Supported
application.
library. Runtime library.
Runtime library. So what is a runtime library?
So let's say if it is Java, then we need Java runtime.
So runtime library, where you find it out? Where
In
do
the
you
same
find
operating system.
same operating system? Where is what if we call it? What we call it?
Runtime environment.
Runtime environment. Yeah, but okay, maybe my question is confusing it to you. Let me tell you. So let's say I want to run some Java based applications. Okay, so for that I have to install Java, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So this is the Java installations for me. This is a Java installations. You see here. So what we call it, if I call this files and directories, collections of files and directories, what we call it? What we call it? File system. What do we call it? File system. See here. Collections of files and directory. What we call it? Have you seen these images somewhere? Guys, are you there?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what we
Yes.
call it? File system. So guys, here we need a runtime library and application itself. Okay. So these are the things. Any other things also we need it? More things. Any one more things? Look at it. Okay, look at this here. This is a one application. This need this need CPU. This need RAM. What else you need it? You have all the details here only.
Permission.
You need a user. See here. Have you seen any? Look at this here, this table. Have you seen this hell lot of services running, applications running? Have you seen anything which are without a username? Some of them is running is by Rajesh Kumar, local system user, correct? So you need to run application, you need a user, one user, right? See here, correct now?
Yeah.
Agree? And
Yeah.
one more thing you need, that PID. You see here, PID. One PID. Okay, one PID you need it. See here, one PID. So PID, we need it. PID hierarchy. HIR. See here. Look at this. There's not good image I'm getting it. I'll create it. Every PID hierarchy you see. You look at this here. See here, first see the things. See this is the PID. Every process you must see that here. Every applications which you are running, they get the unique key. Look at this very carefully. Unique key. OK, how do they get unique key? So what happens? We call it a P map, process map. And here every process map start with a 0. Right? Everything start from the 0, right? Everything start from nothing. That's what we say, right? Everything start from nothing. OK, here you see. And this 0 create this, the one which I'm showing you right now. This is for the Linux because one process ID in Windows don't have it. Not a problem. So here from 0 you get 1. OK. And this is your kernel. OK. What is kernel? You all know, right? Correct? Everyone? Guys?
Yeah.
OK.
College time we studied.
Yeah. Now, guys, you know what? Here Anjali logged in. OK. Anjali logged into the system. Kernel is running, operating system is running. Anjali logged in. I myself logged into that same machine. And Shraddha logged in. Look at this here. Now Anjali logged in, then maybe she got some PID 30. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 is incremented and it get disappeared, so it never come back. I mean, re-initialize. You see that 3896 means there are processes which is has run created PID 3895 till that. That's the reason it got 38. Here you see go up 22,140. That means since I started this laptop, I have got 22,139 process running before me. That could be the longer process or that could be a shorter process. OK, anything, it can be longer also, shorter also. Duration of the process, that application can be a few milliseconds also. So understand that way. So this is Rajesh. Maybe he got 50. And this is Shraddha. She got 70. OK. Now think logically. 30 is the child. And who's the parent of 30? 1. Who's the parent of 50? 1. Who's the parent of 70? 1. See, you are also process. Don't think you are a something great. You are a process. PID. You all are PID. You all are PID. Now, if you go a little bit further, now let's say Anjali decided to run Tomcat and she's running Git. Rajesh decided to run Apache and Shraddha running MySQL. Though all users can run all applications, but everyone can do the different thing. So now this can be some different PID. OK, I'm just giving randomly. What I'm trying to help you to understand how it works, let's understand that one. So now you see here, this 101, who's the parent of this? 30. See here, the relationship. So this Tomcat, the run by Anjali, 101 PID. This is the PID and PPID is 30. And for this PPID is 1. So this whole structure, what we call it, process map. This is a map. OK, this is how you create it. That means who's the super, there's only one who's not having any parent, and that's called 0. Apart from that, everyone has their own parent. And this is keep growing the more you run this operating system. Now, how come I reached to the 21,964 processes? To be honest, from last 2 days, I have not started my laptop and I've been doing so many things. I have reached it. OK, so the moment you close, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, keep growing actually. Keep growing the numbers. The older number will not be reused actually. So it started with a 0 to 1 to dub, and it has reached to how many processes? Number of, that means number of times I have run application. Let's say I run notepad, one more notepad. See here, this is one application I'm running, right? See here, now you got it, and you see somewhere end of it, you will see the notepad running here, and somewhere here runtime broker notepad might have got called here. This is the notepad runtime broker. OK, so this is how you see that all of which services, all these are not services, sorry, this is a PID. OK, PID. So I hope now you understand, guys, right? Everyone?
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah.
OK,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
question was, what are the resources we need to run one app, software, and any app? So guys, one app, I said one app, don't think too much of app. I'm saying one app, coder.exe, chrome.exe, one app, one instance. So guys, what you need, OK, you need one user. See here in front of you only. This is the application associated with the one user. One user you need. And then you need this one, runtime library. In short, we know what we call it. This we call it. This is a runtime library, right? An application. We call it a file system. OK, file system. And in this terminologies, what we call it, this we call it a mount. So you have to start calling mount. MNT. OK, mount. So guys, this is a mount file system. Let's say you want to run Tomcat. So Tomcat need a Java. Now Java need what? Java need what? See the relationship. Tomcat, you want to run app. App you want to run with a Tomcat. Tomcat need a Java. And Java need what?
JRE.
Oh, no, Java itself is a JRE. I'm saying JRE need what?
Operating system.
Operating system.
Operating system. But guys, I'll give you new perspective today. I'll give you new perspective. This is called file system. OK, this is called file system. All this is called file system. You know what? Types of file system. What is a type of file system? Let me show you here. Let me talk about it. So there are different types of file system. One file system, which we call it, is very known file system, which we call it a boot file system. What is boot file system? Are the programs. File system means what? File system means here, file system means collections of directories and files. OK, for one specific purpose. specific purpose has to be there, else it's not serving the definition. Should be some purpose. Okay, so collections of directories and files for one specific purpose. So here types of file system, what we have, boot file system. Guys, this boot file system, we call it kernel. Okay, now I don't know how many of you know the kernel, but I don't know what is kernel. So I just Google it. Okay, and here I got to know, okay, I read it somewhere, and here I get to know kernel is, look at this, kernel is a computer program. Okay, kernel is a computer program. Program means is a files, right? Program means computer program. It's not saying hardware. Kernel is a program. It's a file. It's a source code. Compiled one source code. So it's a program itself. So here this program, which is in a form of collections of files and directories, and that we call it boot file system or kernel in short. Okay, you call it a boot file system or kernel, both are same. Boot file system means the moment you switch on your laptop, power on your laptop, then the files get loaded to your RAM. That's your kernel basically. Okay, so understood guys, this first type of file system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now guys, there are two kernel in the whole world right now. Don't get confused with the kernel concept. It's very simple, and there's only two kernel in the whole world which we are using. We are using that's all. There's a version difference, but these are the two kernel, Linux and Windows. That's all. Okay, earlier it used to be Unix, but not anymore. So because Unix has out of the service now, so all this Linux, Unix is derived from the one libraries itself. So there's a two kernels only. Now, what is the next thing? So guys, here then we talk about a root file system. Okay, now question is, what is a root file system? Guys, anything which you see at this place. Remember, I don't know how many of you have worked with Linux very well. If you have worked with Linux very well, you know that what is the meaning of it. And if you have not worked with the Linux, no problem. I think you should be knowing at least Windows, right? At least Windows. See here, root file system. Go to my computer. Do we have any DOS command to go to my computer and see the things? Let me DOS command to go my computer. Okay. I know this all. No command. At least I can locate it, but it's okay. So here I'll go visually way, Explorer, my PC. Have you seen this? Of course you might have seen it.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.